Okay, so in this we will talk about थिंकिंग. हम लोग सब लोग बोलते हैं, तो व्हाट इज थिंकिंग, थिंकिंग है क्या, कैसे डेवलप होता है, और कहाँ पे इसको हम यूज करते हैं, वेयर इज इट यूज्ड इन डेली लाइफ, एंड ऑल्सो घर के एनवायरमेंट का impact of environment of home, at home, on thinking abilities of children, and how then in adult life it is significant. तो ये सारा हम लोग एक पूरा साइकिल देखेंगे कि कैसे शुरू से होके बचपन से लेके चाइल्डहुड से थिंकिंग का क्या रोल होता है, कैसे डेवलप होता है, और फिर उसके बाद वो कैसे हम लोग एडल्टहुड में कैसे थिंकिंग हमारा यूज होता है, कहाँ पे यूज होता है. तो बहुत ही ये बेसिक थिंकिंग की एक ये है, इसको बोलते हैं कि मेंटल प्रोसेसिंग ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, मेंटल प्रोसेसिंग ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टू परसीव. मेंटल प्रोसेसिंग मतलब कि जब हम दिमाग में कोई इंफॉर्मेशन को प्रोसेस कर रहे हैं, उसको समझने की कोशिश करते हैं, so that is thinking. बहुत ही simple words में we will try to understand it, that thinking is basically processing the information in mind. दिमाग में information का meaning बनाना. To perceive, perceive means to make meaning, make sense of experience. जब कोई भी experience हमें होता है, कुछ हम experience करते हैं, तो हम उसको उससे क्या मतलब निकालते हैं. So दैट इज वेयर, और फिर वो जो हम मतलब निकालते हैं उस एक्सपीरियंस का अपने बारे में, एक उसकी जो हम धारणा बनाते हैं, वॉट एवर वी मेक बिलीफ आउट ऑफ इट, एंड दैट इज देन इट कम्स इन आवर एक्शंस एंड इमोशंस. ये मैं इसको आगे थोड़ा सा बहुत सिंपल एग्जांपल्स में लूंगी. तो कैसे थिंकिंग, जो बेसिकली जब हम बच्चा पढ़ता है तो हम उस समय काफी ये वर्ड यूज करते हैं कि समझ नहीं आ रहा है, ध्यान कहाँ है, क्या सोच रहे हो. तो ये सारे जो वर्ड्स हैं, ये टेक्निकली कैसे चलते हैं और इनका क्या, कैसे ये हमारे बिहेवियर में आ रहे हैं. सो वी विल टॉक अबाउट दैट, एंड हम लोग आज उन सारी चीजों की बात करेंगे जो ग्रुप में भी पहले हुई है कि हॉबीज से रिलेटेड, पढ़ाई से रिलेटेड जो इश्यूज हैं. तो दैट इज व्हाई आई थॉट ऑफ टेकिंग दिस एज अ टॉपिक टुडे, थिंकिंग एज अ टॉपिक टुडे. Because when we talk about hobbies, when we talk about children not being interested in studies or reading or writing, or listening to parents, तो ये thinking का जो है ये एक बहुत important role है इस पूरे सारे के सारे processes में. So I hope everybody is comfortable with Hindi. कोई ऐसा है जिसको बिल्कुल हिंदी, is there anyone who does not understand Hindi at all?
Yes, ma'am. I don't understand Hindi at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know. So I'll just keep
Thank you.
both the
I'm
language.
sorry about you having to repeat it in the other language.
No, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine, because the purpose is that it should be like clearly the message should reach.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. That's why I asked about it. So, don't worry about it.
Thank you.
So this is what the thinking is. It's ये बहुत technical है. So this is quite technical. Let us not, we will not get much into it. Now we will have some understanding of how does thinking develop. Now this we will understand with some day-to-day examples. जो हमारे रोज के घर के बच्चों के साथ के behavior के जो हमारे examples हैं, उसके साथ हम इसको समझेंगे. So basically सेंसेशन मीन्स सेंसेस, जो हमारे 5 सेंस ऑर्गन्स हैं. तो हम जो इंफॉर्मेशन लेते हैं, इनपुट लेते हैं इंफॉर्मेशन का, वो हम 5 सेंस ऑर्गन्स से लेते हैं. सो दैट इज सेंसेशन. वी सेंस, so we take all the input from our 5 sense organs, and these senses are also called gateway of knowledge. Why? Because we are getting all the input about the external world from these 5 senses. So that is why we are like gathering all the knowledge. So first thing, which is very basic for any living being, is a human being, is a sensation. So a child senses. एक बच्चा जो है वो सब सेंस करता है जो उसके आसपास में हो रहा है. The child senses everything. The child has very strongly developed sense organs initially, in initial years of life. And then on sensation, second thing comes is of attention. Now we are getting so much, the child is getting some input from his senses, but attention, where the child is putting in attention, that is a selective process. अटेंशन बच्चा कहाँ दे रहा है, वो एक सिलेक्टिव प्रोसेस है, ठीक है. अब सेंसेशन में ये है कि इफ समथिंग इज हैपनिंग लाइक क्लास में कुछ पढ़ाया जा रहा है, द चाइल्ड इज टेकिंग इन द इंफॉर्मेशन, ठीक है, बट द चाइल्ड इज नॉट being attentive to it. The child is not paying attention. So the attention is a selective process and it depends on many factors. Where the child will put attention, that depends on many factors. ठीक है, बट अटेंशन का सिंपल मतलब है ध्यान देना. बच्चा ध्यान कहाँ देगा, दैट वो बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स पे डिपेंड करता है. उसके इंटरेस्ट पे डिपेंड करता है, उसके मोटिवेशन पे, उसके अंडरस्टैंडिंग, उसकी पहले की अंडरस्टैंडिंग कितनी है उस पर डिपेंड करेगा. फिर उसके अलावा उससे रिलेटेड, for example, mathematics ka example we will have, let us see this example of mathematics. So when the child knows, the child has sensed from so many sources that mathematics is a difficult subject. That is the sense, that's what the child has gathered from his senses. Now his attention to mathematics will be less. Why? Because the child has sensed from many sources that it is a difficult subject. And then mostly what happens is the children are not able to do well in mathematics. And then slowly the selection gets strengthened. जो सिलेक्शन है इस चीज का कि मैथमेटिक्स डिफिकल्ट है, ये सिलेक्ट कर लेता है दिमाग, ठीक है, और उसका अटेंशन फिर उस पर ऐसे ही जाएगा कि ये डिफिकल्ट है और इस पे आई कांट डू, एंड देन उससे परसेप्शन बन जाता है. परसेप्शन मतलब कि एक बिलीफ बन जाता है बच्चे का दैट आई एम नॉट गुड इन मैथमेटिक्स. सो आई होप दिस फर्स्ट पार्ट इज क्लियर दैट देयर इज अ सेंसेशन. सेंसेशन मतलब कि आसपास में जो भी हो रहा है, वॉट एवर इज हैपनिंग अराउंड, द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट वी आर टेकिंग इन, दैट इज हैपनिंग, दैट प्रोसेस इज देयर. बट अटेंशन इज अ सिलेक्टिव प्रोसेस वेयर इट डिपेंड्स ऑन मेनी फैक्टर्स. बहुत सारी चीजों पर डिपेंड करता है कि हम ध्यान किसी चीज पे देंगे या नहीं देंगे. फॉर एग्जाम्पल जैसे क्लास में कुछ पढ़ा रहे हैं लेकिन बच्चे का ध्यान और कहीं है उस वक्त, तो ध्यान जो हम बोलते हैं ध्यान कहाँ है, दिस इज व्हाट दिस अटेंशन इज. सो सेंसेशन पे कौन से, हम किस सेंस पे हम अटेंशन दे रहे हैं, किस चीज को हम अटेंशन दे रहे हैं, कितना दे पा रहे हैं, क्वालिटी क्या है, उसके बेसिस पे हमारे एक परसेप्शन बन जाता है, हमारा बिलीफ बन जाता है कि whether like I am not good at it or I am good at it. Okay, so once this perception is there, then what happens is, because sensation is a continuous process, अब sensation फिर जब से वो sense करेगा, whenever the child senses this again, means whenever there is a maths class, maths thing again, the child is already ready with the perception. बच्चे के पास ऑलरेडी दिमाग में एक चीज है कि आई एम नॉट गुड एट मैथ्स. एंड देन फाइनली दिस लास्ट सिक्स्थ सर्कल you can see that is about thinking process or thought, and then it becomes a part of his thinking that I am not good at maths, so I cannot do this, so it is not possible, so I cannot learn. So it becomes a part of thinking process. So I hope, is this little bit clear how thinking develop? I have not talked about a lot of technical terms के बारे में मैं बात नहीं कर रही हूँ, मैं बहुत basic चीजों के बारे में बात कर रही हूँ. So is there anything else here anyone would want to ask, anyone would want to talk or ask anything?
Ma'am, what are the factors that affect the attention of the child, ma'am?
Yes, so attention affects on, like there are many factors. I'll take another example. As I said that earlier interest of the child, earlier previous interest also the motivation, how the parents or the teachers or how the society sees that particular thing. So for example, there is a child, 2-year-old child, and he spills the water. Okay, now the child can sense the water, spilled of water there. Then the child's attention will go to either play with the water, or 3 or 4-year-old will try to bring napkin and clean it. So that a 3 to 4-year-old will try to do that. Now that is attention is going there. Now what will happen? The factors I am coming to now. What happens in the process is that when a 2-year-old child playing in the water, most of the time parents would ask him to keep away from the water. So what happens is that child then starts keeping, slowly it starts keeping away from the spilled out water. And then if 3-4 year is trying to clean the water, then most of the time it happens that parents would either go and help the child, or will say that, okay, you leave it. This is not, you cannot do this. You are very young. Don't do it now. So these are all the factors that affect the attention. Then the child will think that this is not something that I have to do. Cleaning this floor is not something that I have to do. So the attention to this cleaning thing or the whole household thing will decrease. Attention towards this will decrease, or the quality will go down to look at this. So there are these kind of factors related to how the parents react or respond to child's actions. So these are the important factors that affect the attention of the child. So here attention is very important because sensation will always be there. I hope ये example समझ में आया बाकी लोगों को कि जैसे पानी गिर गया है बच्चे से, तो बहुत बार अगर 2 साल का बच्चा है,
so here
yes.
Yeah, so here comes parenting, right? Like, yeah, that's what I want to ask. What to do?
Yes. So in all these examples, we will talk about how the home environment impacts. So here in attention, ये attention वाला जो part है, इस पे work करने में parents का role है. ठीक है, very important role of parents comes here because sensation is a biological thing. It is going to happen anyways. The human being will sense whatever is around, but attention, there comes the role of parents or the teachers or the elders. So now here what happens is that when a child is 3-4-year-old and the child is not allowed to clean the floor, then the child understands, he has a perception that this cleaning is not that I have to do. Now that becomes a part, slowly it becomes his understanding. And then whenever next time there is a sensation, there is a water spilling out, then this child is already have this perception that I don't have to clean the floor, and then it becomes a part of his thoughts or thinking process. So this is starting from 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And when at the age of 10 or 11 years or 12 years, parent will ask a child to clean the floor or to do some cleaning work, then it will come in conflict with the child's understanding. That is why the child at that age will not be readily come up for cleaning things, household things. This is the reason that at that age, then they don't, because the conflict, because for all these years they have thought that this is not I have to do. This is not something I have to do. And then suddenly after 10 years, 11 years, parents tell that, okay, now you do this. So there is a conflict in thinking. That is why children, it just on the face of it, they cannot take it that for 10 years you told me this and now you are telling me this. So here the role of parents come, that children from very early age, they have this urge to work as adults do. So it's the responsibility of parent to let the children do what they are doing. I'll come to this in the next slides also. So I hope this you are understanding that attention, mainly the role of parents is very strong. Not only like this was one example, then studies, mathematics is like one example, because there is so much of fear that comes in children, or let's say history as a subject. That also children many times think that it is difficult to understand because that's what the people around say. So their attention in those subjects goes down. So attention is the most important, this where parents can help children to develop the attention part basically. Yeah. So anything else anyone would like to share?
So you mean to say like we should allow them to explore each and everything, right?
We should allow them to
Explore kind of like they can explore in things. They just want to do lots of things whichever we are involved in, like cooking or utensils or whatever.
very much, very much. Since from the age of 2, the child, at the age of around 2, when the child is ready to walk properly and child can hold the body properly. So by 2 years, a 2-year-old child would always love to be in the kitchen, washing utensils, joining her mother or whoever is doing in dusting and mopping, in all those things. So children love that, water especially. So, and they should be allowed till it is not, you have to be, one has to be there just to see that there is no safety issue. But let me tell you this also, that children, they have a very strong understanding, that sense is there, that this is unsafe. They will never get into things which is unsafe. So that sense is there in the children. It's only we adults think that it's not there in them. And that's why we keep guiding them a lot. So here I am just taking that how the different phases of development of thinking according to age, how it moves. So it is 0 to 3 years, till 3 years. They take information completely through senses, completely through 5 senses. So they just use all the senses. Understand this, this is very interesting. So because there is no perception made at this age, there is no perception, उस बच्चे का कोई belief नहीं बना है अभी, ठीक है, कोई धारणा उसकी नहीं बनी है बच्चे की अभी 3 साल तक. उस एज में तभी बच्चे बहुत fearless होते हैं. They are very fearless and they are ready to do anything. They don't fear of anything. अगर कीड़े मकोड़े भी पकड़ने हैं तो पकड़ लेंगे वो जाके. Because there is no such perception of, that this is harmful, yeah, something can happen. So that is not there. So they are only using senses, 5 senses, for taking the information and for understanding the information. That is why there is highest growth of human beings, human body that happens is within this time. ठीक है, 3 साल से पहले, especially 0 to 2 is the maximum time, maximum growth happening in the human body, and of the mind, of understanding, of imagination, because there is no perception formed. The moment the perception and the feelings and everything starts coming, the growth, then it gets, it slows down then. So then 3 years, then around 7 years, 3 to 7 years, bit of feelings comes in. उसके पहले बहुत ज़्यादा feelings नहीं होते हैं. So around 5 to 7 years में थोड़ा सा feelings, the child starts getting into this feeling realm. And so senses is there, since a lot of sensation from sense organs is there, but feelings is also coming in. The child starts feeling bad, feeling good. So till now, when the child cries, feelings are not attached to it. It is mainly related to biological or some inconvenience. But around after 5, the child's cry, it is also from something related to feeling. So around 6, 7, this feeling thing starts coming in. And then 7 to 11 years, 5 senses are there. Feelings are also now coming in, and a bit of logic comes. Logic, when we say logic, it means the child starts thinking that if this happens, then I'll do this. So that logic starts coming in. I hope this is clear. Feelings and logic. So see how the input is increasing. So initially, when child is only 3 years, the input is only from senses. The child is thinking. The thinking process is also happening from senses only. And 3 to 7, then the bit of feelings are coming. And then the bit of logic is coming around 11 years. The child starts seeing things little logically. And then 11 to 14, abstraction, it comes. Bit of abstraction. Abstraction means the child starts seeing possibilities. A lot of possibilities. Something we might like 11-year, 12-year, 13, especially 12, 13-year children. They can talk like they come up with ideas. Many a times, this is the age when they think that they don't have to study to earn. So they have those examples of that Dhirubhai Ambani has not studied, or Bill Gates, or he has not studied, or this person has not studied, but they are earning very good money. I can also do this. So all those possibility, abstract ideas. So this comes around this age. And then 14 to 21, this abstraction, abstract ideas, it changes into actions or inactions. So this is in a very, very nutshell, I'm just talking about how thinking finally develops by the age of 21 years. So it is starting, the process is starting, though from very early, the day 1 itself, but it goes till 21 years. The whole thinking process to take shape. So till this time, till 21 years, the child goes through the complete spectrum of senses, then to feelings, then to logic, then to abstract ideas. ये क्लियर है सबको? कहीं पे मैं फिर से एक बार हिंदी में एक्सप्लेन करूं क्या इसको? Anyone would like to speak anything here? Okay. So 7, so I think ये एक बार थोड़ा सा मैं इसको हिंदी में बता देती हूँ. 0 to 7 एक एज ग्रुप है, 7 to 14 एक है, और 14 to 21, ये 3 मेन एज ग्रुप्स हैं. तो इसमें कैसे कैसे पूरा डेवलप होता है, सेंसेस मतलब कि जो बेसिक हमारे 5 सेंस ऑर्गन्स है, वहां से लेके बच्चा शुरू करता है, और फिर वो फीलिंग्स थोड़ा थोड़ा फील करने लगता है कि मुझे ऐसा बोला, या मैं सॉरी नहीं बोलूंगा, वहां से शुरू होता है. इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम देयर कि अभी आपने मुझे ऐसा बोला, अब मैं ऐसा नहीं करूंगा. तो ये थोड़ा सा एक फीलिंग्स वाला पार्ट आ जाता है. एंड देन दो दिस इज ऑल कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टू थिंकिंग, इन सबसे थिंकिंग डेवलप हो रही है अल्टीमेटली. बट देन दिस इज द साइकिल, दिस इज हाउ द होल साइकिल goes. Where does the child need thinking abilities in daily life? कहाँ पे हमको, बच्चे को कहाँ कहाँ पे जरूरत है थिंकिंग एबिलिटीज की, सोचने की? तो first is I have taken here is that is the academic part, reading, understanding, and expressing understanding. So for the purpose of reading, understanding, and expressing in any form by speaking or writing, or in any other form, thinking ability is required. Why are we talking today about thinking is mainly because it is like hardly been talked about. there is no talk happening about what is thinking and why it is to be talked about, why, how it develops, and where do we exactly see it. Because when we say thinking, so normally we speak about कि भाई ये प्रॉब्लम है और हम उसके बारे में सोच रहे हैं, तो सोचना उस तरह से देखा जाता है हमेशा, but not in the light of how children need it. So this is related to when the children have to ask questions, then also thinking is required. So here we can see that how questioning skill of the ability to question is basically coming from ability to think, because only if the child can think, the child can question. So children, when are very young, they have a lot of questions, and as they grow, the questions decrease, and in adulthood it almost comes to nil. So we hardly question in adulthood, most of us. So so this requires very constructive, very both the critical and then creative thinking, questioning. So next here is concentration. Like if there are so many options, then to what to concentrate upon, किस पे concentrate किया जाए. अगर मेरे पास आज 4-5 options हैं, तो मैं क्या किस पे concentrate करूं. उसके लिए हमको थिंकिंग की एबिलिटी की ज़रूरत है. फोकस करना है किसी चीज़ पे, हमको बैठ के फोकस नहीं कर पाते हैं बहुत बार. दिस इज़ अ वेरी बिग इशू विद चिल्ड्रन इन एकेडमिक सर्कल्स में. ये सबसे ज़्यादा बड़ा इशू है कि बच्चे फोकस नहीं कर पाते हैं पढ़ाई में, या एक सब्जेक्ट पे, या किसी पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक पे. तो उसके लिए बेसिकली उसके लिए थिंकिंग एबिलिटी चाहिए. एंड देन टू इनिशिएट एनीथिंग. बहुत बार हम लोग ये बोलते हैं कि बच्चा इनिशिएटिव नहीं लेता है, खुद से कुछ नहीं करना चाहता है. तो when we are saying that the child is not taking initiative, child does not know where to begin. It's not about child only, it's about even about adults also. So here we are talking about children, so I'm just talking about that, those kind of examples. So where the child does not know where to begin. Now it requires some pre-thinking. Like if you have to begin something, for example, hobby. Like there has been many questions related to hobbies in the group, in our parenting group. So, and where parents have asked this, that the child is not interested to initiate any hobby. So why is that happening? वो क्यों हो रहा है कि बच्चे को कोई हॉबी में इंटरेस्ट नहीं आ रहा है, वो कोई भी हॉबी शुरू नहीं करना, कोई भी चीज, कोई भी हॉबी, मतलब कि लेट्स से गेम से रिलेटेड या डांस से रिलेटेड शुरू नहीं कर पा रहा है. क्यों नहीं शुरू कर पा रहा है? व्हाट इज द रीजन? कोई anybody would like to share here? Why are children not able to begin? कुछ भी नया चीज वो शुरू क्यों नहीं कर पाते हैं बच्चे?
Maybe because they are confused.
Yes, of course, bilkul. Confusion is still better. Confusion is still better if the child has some confusion. What else can it be?
Technology, too much time on TV.
Yes, that makes them very lazy.
Yes.
Because it puts them in habit of just sitting, and then it becomes comfortable.
Correct.
Maybe because parents are not doing any hobby, so that children can replicate.
Exactly, bilkul. This is a very well said thing, because children learn from parents. When they see that my mother or my father, like they are just doing the daily routine household work or work related thing, and they don't have any hobby. So how can a child do that? This is a very, very exact, you have pinpointed it very correctly. And
Thank you.
Anything else anyone want to share? So
Ma'am, how about like creating an interest in the child? If suppose I want him to build a house, showing how it can be done, images, like when you go for a walk, you show things, like initiate that interest in a child. Does that work?
yes, 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 that works. See, definitely, in any age, you can teach child anything. That is there. ठीक है, you can आप किसी भी एज में बच्चे का इंटरेस्ट जगा सकते हैं किसी भी चीज के लिए. उसका एक प्रोसेस है. देयर इज अ प्रोसेस टू इट. So there are ways parents can do it. It's like if it is coming organically from the childhood, then it's always it comes naturally, where the child has a habit of exploring new things. But in case it has not happened, so then uh, then the parents can definitely uh, help children uh, to have more have their interest in something. That is possible. Yes. Anything else anybody would want to share?
Also,
जिग्नेश भाई आप पूछ सकते हैं if you want to ask anything. Yes, who was saying?
also nowadays the schools have, matlab they have hobbies curriculum, but they are not so they are not so interestingly teaching those. Matlab, most of the classes are very conveniently skipped so that the portions are covered. Wouldn't that also affect the child? Like if you've chosen like music for a child as a hobby, and she's regularly attending it in the school premises, she or he, but then the school has easily skipped the music class because there is some Hindi portion left to be done or maths portion to be, I mean, would that also be affecting the child?
Yes, that might affect. That might affect, because if child is looking forward to that music class in 1 week, which maybe once or twice a week, and then child is looking forward to the class, and then the class is cancelled. So the child gets disturbed. But if child is really interested in music, then, or in any hobby, I would suggest that parents should personally take up the initiative to help the child to explore it, no, other than school hours.
Ma'am, is it like the best way to actually engage a child in any particular activity is to be doing it with him together, learning it with him?
That always is good. See, because when you are teaching, when you get in the mode of teaching, then it becomes difficult, because nobody
Yeah.
wants to be taught.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yes. So
Yeah.
nobody wants to be taught. Yeah. Even with adults also, it's like if you if you start advising someone, people normally not like it. Yeah. So so it is always good to do it together and just be in the, because many times it will happen that even you are doing it for the first time.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? So let us be in that space that, okay, I am also learning, you are also learning. So we both are starting from the basic.
Yeah.
So if we start with that mindset, it's always easier. And then slowly child gets into teaching mode.
Okay.
And then the child loves to tell that, okay, you can do like this, you can do it like this. So it is always like, then the child takes initiative.
All right, ma'am. So it's best if we explore it, and it's okay to make mistakes and then progress with it, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Trial and error is the best method, because it
Oh.
teaches a lot. It teaches a lot. So especially for children, there should be always, see, this was one I wanted to add here, where to begin, why children are not able to begin anything, initiate anything. The reason, one important reason is this also, that earlier whenever they have done any mistake, so they have been criticized for it. So once the child is criticized for some time continuously, then they stop taking the initiative. So that is where this problem comes, where then the child says that I'm not interested in anything. I don't want to do anything. Then this thing comes up finally. So, so these are, I was talking about some where the thinking abilities are required. So for initiating, there is thinking ability is required even for initiating anything, because if the child wants to pursue something, so before that the child will think about it, the child will have some interest, some motivation. So there is a process before initiating. And then whenever the child has to make some decision, so decision can be as simple as what to eat, what is good for me to eat. सो दीज आर वेरी सिंपल, बहुत छोटे छोटे डिसीजंस हैं. तो ये जब बच्चे को ऐसा कुछ डिसाइड करना है कि मैं क्या खाऊं, या फिर स्पेशली जो आजकल का सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, टू चूज बिटवीन फोन एंड द बुक, स्क्रीन एंड द बुक. सो ये दीज आर some areas where children need to think. The thinking is required, and when they are not able to think properly for good for themselves, then slowly they get into problem, and the parents also get into problem. So so here just a minute. Please be careful with this. I do not work with the slides. I do not want to remove anyone from here, so please be careful. So this is where the significance of thinking abilities in adult life. Where do we need thinking abilities in adult life? So now it is starting from the early childhood. They are developing till the age of 21, and then how it is manifesting in the adulthood. So in adulthood, there are so many things that where we have to think, and if we make a right decision or responsible decision, then it makes things easier for us. So for example, deciding between careers and planning and preparation for studies, work, financials, home front. So these are the some adult life things. So we have to choose between friends, intimate relationships, engaging with children and spouse, leisure time activities. How are we choosing leisure time activities? That also is that requires thinking abilities. Work-life balance, conflicts, because conflicts is a part of adult life. It will always be there. How do we resolve the conflicts? So ये सब कुछ मैंने थोड़े से ऐसे लिखे हैं just for us to understand कि कहाँ पे thinking की जरूरत हमें पड़ती है adult life में. तो understanding success and dealing with failures, this is a very talked about thing these days. आजकल इसके बारे में बहुत बात हो रही है कि पूरे हमको childhood में ये नहीं सिखाया जा रहा है कि how to deal with failures. अगर हम लोग if you are failing somewhere, how do we deal with it? हम उसको कैसे लेंगे हम, और उसकी वजह से बहुत सारे issues होते हैं. Life, the whole life, it becomes difficult. It impacts the whole life and the people related to us. So this is where all the thinking abilities are required in adult life. Now I'll just focus on few points which are very, very important for all of us as parents, how as parents we behave with children. So first is that never answer your child's questions directly. When we answer the question, it kills the curiosity then and there. Yeah? Or when we say that, say A for apple, बच्चे को हम बच्चे को बताते हैं कि बेटा ये A है और ये A for apple है. जब हमने ये बता दिया तो उसी टाइम उसकी थिंकिंग वहीं पे बंद हो गई. ठीक है. Now there is nothing left to think, to know. about A and apple. So the child slowly loses interest in apple and writing and reading. Okay. So the moment, see, the whole thing, when we teach, whole thing starts with telling the child, answering. We first give the answer and then we tell the child to learn the answer. So learning the answer is very boring. It does not have any imagination. It does not need any thinking. It does not need, there is no curiosity required for it. And the child inner nature, the child's nature is such that the child wants to imagine. The child is curious by nature. Every child is very, very curious by nature. But the moment we give them answers, the curiosity comes down to the level of 0, and then slowly it comes to the negative. So answering children's question, that has to be avoided, and at any cost. We can talk about the questions around the whatever the child has asked, but the direct answer, that must be avoided. Then do not overfeed the child with information. This is happening a lot now. One, the children are already studying quite a lot in schools, in kindergarten, and even above kindergarten, like class in primary schools also. So there's a lot of studies happening in the school. There's a lot to write and read and study. And then overfeeding the child with the information with the intention that child will know more soon. ये समझ के जब हम बच्चे को बहुत ज़्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन देते हैं कि बच्चा जो है वो जल्दी समझ जाएगा और बहुत जल्दी उसको इंफॉर्मेशन मिल जाएगी बहुत सारी, तो उसका इंफॉर्मेशन ओवरलोड हो जाता है. ठीक है, देयर इज अ इंफॉर्मेशन ओवरलोड दैट्स हैपनिंग, एंड द कॉस्ट ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन ओवरलोड इज दैट द चाइल्ड विल स्टॉप इमेजिनिंग. The child will slowly stop being curious about anything because the brain cannot take the load more than that. So overfeeding, over information, that must be avoided. Then interfering when child is engrossed in some work or thoughts. Many times you might have seen that even especially 2-3 years, not 2-3 years, but around 4 to 5 years, 6-7 years, 9-10-11 years, children are, and sometimes you find them lost. They are in their own world. So during that time, actually there is something happening in their back of the mind. Some processing is going on and they are doing something, some connections are happening. Yeah, so they are thinking, because child will never sit idle. Child will always be engrossed in something. That's the nature of the child. Even if the child is not doing something, but the child is still in mind, he's thinking about something. So when the child is engrossed in some work or in thoughts, never interfere with that. Wait for the child to come out of his world. That's very important. Nothing else is important at that particular moment. If you feel that it's lunch time, if it's time for that, it's time for that, that should be avoided, because in that particular moment that is important for child. And when we bring the child suddenly from something what he is interested in and what he is engrossed in, we bring back the child out of it abruptly. एकदम बच्चा कुछ सोच रहा है और हम एकदम एब्रप्टली उसको उसमें से निकाल देते हैं कि अभी छोड़ो छोड़ो, अभी क्या सोच रहे हो, उठो एंड ये दूध पी लो, खाने का टाइम हो गया खा लो, या सोने का टाइम हो गया सो जाओ. तो इससे जब ये रिपीटेडली होता है तो बच्चा ये समझने लगता है धीरे धीरे कि कोई भी प्रोसेस वो कंप्लीट नहीं कर पा रहा है, और उसको ये भी लगता है कि कोई प्रोसेस कंप्लीट करने की जरूरत भी नहीं है, क्योंकि ऐसे ही चल रहा है बहुत टाइम से. The process is not to be completed, and the process cannot be completed. The completion thing, that child is missing on. Just a minute. So these are few things. Then let the child observe and feel natural phenomena, especially children till 12, 13 years. As close they are to nature, they are. Yes. So observation and feeling. So natural phenomena, observation and feeling of natural phenomena, that's very important. Natural phenomena, what are the natural phenomena? Like seasons and festivals, and uh, how the climate is. So, and how the everyday cycle of sun and moon and stars and flowers and plants. So all these natural, this natural cycle. So it's very important to, for a child to observe, to understand, because in nature there is always a circle, and there is always a completion of something, and the circle is going on. So that comes in the back of the mind of the child, that things move like this periodically. And so when the child observes that and feel that, it helps the child to understand about life in general also. Then do not help the child until asked for. Pause and wait. Helping the child is very, very, that's it. When we help the child, we are telling the child that you cannot do it, and we don't trust you. So जब भी हम बच्चे की ओवर हेल्प कर रहे हैं, हम उसकी हेल्प कर रहे हैं, वो उसने हेल्प मांगी नहीं है, हम उसकी हेल्प कर रहे हैं, तो हम उसको ये बता रहे हैं कि बेटा हम आपको ट्रस्ट नहीं करते और आप ये नहीं कर सकते हो. ये उसके दिमाग में आ जाता है बच्चे के. एंड देन स्लोली इट बिकम्स अ पार्ट ऑफ हिज थिंकिंग. उसके थिंकिंग प्रोसेस का ये पार्ट बन जाता है कि आई कैनॉट डू दिस, एंड आई कैनॉट बी, आई एम नॉट to be trusted. And that is why slowly what happens, that in the age like 13, 14 years, 15 years, when they need to do things on their own, they are not able to do it. They are not able to initiate for hobbies or for work related, or household work or anything. कुछ भी शुरू करना है वो शुरू नहीं कर पाते हैं, क्योंकि शुरू से पेरेंट्स ने हेल्प किया है बहुत ज्यादा, तो वो बड़े होके खुद से उनका करना, इवन टिल द एज ऑफ 30, 35, 40, we have seen many times this happens, that people cannot do their work on their own. They cannot do like basic things. They need people. So basic things ke alawa, or also they cannot take initiatives. So because they have been always been helped, so their own initiative to do something, it goes down. So हमेशा help जो है बच्चे को तभी करें जब बच्चा उसको मांग रहा है, when the child is asking for it. ठीक है. Let the child understand the processes. It is important कि वो बच्चा जो है वो प्रोसेसेस समझे, उससे उसकी थिंकिंग एक पूरा साइकिल. सी थिंकिंग में दो तीन चीजें हैं. एक तो ये है कि वो क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग करे, वो क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग करे. ये सब में भी बहुत ज्यादा आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट ऑल दिस, बट क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग ये है कि जहां पर दो चार आपके पास ऑप्शंस हैं और वो इवेलुएट कर पाए कि विच ऑप्शन इज बेटर. दैट इज क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग. एंड उसमें से क्या बेटर है और उसके आगे क्या पॉसिबिलिटीज है, फिर वो आगे क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग है. तो ये सारा कैसे आएगा? ये तब आएगा जब वो पूरा प्रोसेस कोई भी समझेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल कुकिंग का प्रोसेस है, या दूध हमारे पास कहाँ से आ रहा है, वो एक प्रोसेस है. ठीक है. कपड़े कहाँ से आ रहे हैं, फ्रॉम वेयर आर वी गेटिंग क्लोथ्स, फ्रॉम वेयर आर वी गेटिंग फूड, फ्रॉम वेयर इज दिस हु इज बिल्डिंग these buildings. So these are processes. So it's important for child to understand the process and not only to focus on the products. It impacts the thinking, because in thinking it comes that there is a process behind everything. It is not the product which is readily available. So वो एक thinking का part बन जाता है. So जब बच्चों को बहुत सारी facilities मिलती हैं life में और बहुत comfortable life they live, it becomes difficult for them to see the process behind those comforts. And then they only focus on products. And products, you cannot, in the adulthood later, you cannot get the products readily. There is a process in getting the products. So this is the process. So help the child to understand the processes and never criticize the child. Criticizing a child is this is very common in most of the houses. Give feedback related to the task, not to the child's personality, not to the identity of the child. For example, the child has not scored good in some subject. So instead of saying this, that you are weak in this subject, or you are not able to do this, you are weak in this subject, instead of saying those kind of things, the feedback has to be on the subject, not on the child. So when we say something to the child, we are criticizing a child, and then it goes in the thinking, it becomes a part of the thinking. So these are all very important points which very strongly affect the thinking process. And then punishment and rewards, they both are equally dangerous. So punishment and rewards, even rewards, punishment has its own effects, and rewards also have their own effects, which can actually put child in a problem in later years. So rewards like, जब हम बच्चे को ये बोलते हैं कि आप ये कर लो फिर हम आपको ये देंगे, 10th में इतने मार्क्स ले आओ हम आपको ये देंगे, ठीक है, you get this many marks, this percentage, and we will get you an iPhone. This is very common these days, iPhone, getting an iPhone to a child after class 10th. So and this starts even early, even in class 5, even in before that, in very early childhood, like please complete the food, I will give you this. खाना खत्म कर दो फिर मैं आपको ये दूंगी, ठीक है, या पढ़ाई पूरी कर दो, जल्दी से होमवर्क कर दो, फिर मैं आपको एक टॉफी दूंगी, ठीक है. सो ये रिवॉर्ड है, दो बच्चा इसके में काम कर देगा, द चाइल्ड विल डू, बट it has a cost, because this is telling the child that whenever you do something good, you will get some reward, somebody will approve it. So the child will start looking for approval and assurance every time he does anything, and then in adulthood he will not get it every time, he or she, है ना. जब छोटा है तो चॉकलेट्स दे देंगे पेरेंट्स, या कुछ और दे देंगे, या आईफोन दिलवा देंगे, या हो जाएगा. लेकिन जब बच्चा बड़ा होगा तब तो उसको नहीं मिलेगा बार बार अप्रूवल, बार बार एश्योरेंस, बार बार रिवॉर्ड्स तो नहीं मिलेगा. एंड देन द चाइल्ड, उसके वो एक जो दिमाग में बैठा हुआ एक थिंकिंग प्रोसेस का पार्ट बन चुका है, दैट एवरी गुड थिंग इज देयर इज अ रिवॉर्ड आफ्टर दैट. सो वो जो एक उसका बन चुका है, वो that is not being fulfilled in the adulthood, and then it becomes a problem for relationship. I am like, for example, I am not praised, I am not appreciated enough, nobody nobody appreciates my work. So these are all the things, it comes later, because you are so looking for appreciation always. So but now here, these are few points where I thought I'll just share my understanding. Parents can now please share your observations and your experiences. Would anyone like to share anything?
Ma'am, usually like when I talk to my 4-year-old, I usually tell him like, see, if he wants to watch TV rather than doing something else, I'd be like, so you can watch it for some time and then you can go do this. And when it's time to do the other work, I would look at him and he decides, he decides, okay, maybe it's really time to go off, and he puts it off and goes. So most of the time that happens, rather than telling him, no, I'm going to give you something else, and just building up hopes and all of that. So that's how it works for us.
ठीक है, that is fine. When the child is deciding and doing something, that is always the best option.
Yeah, I leave it to him. I tell, see, it's not good for your eyes, you decide. You don't have to get scared of me or worry because I'm going to come and leave you. you decide, it's your call. So, and he usually understands, and does things on his own. So that's one thing, ma'am. And one more doubt that I've always, he goes to a Montessori school. So they are all about materials, and they always say that when you aid the child with the correct size of anything, even like in cooking utensils and things like that, they actually perform better. Is that true?
They actually perform better.
Perform better, like as in they can do their tasks better. Like if I give a small rolling pin, he can roll it out better than giving the huge rolling pin while doing the atta and things like that.
Yes, yes, yes. Size of the hand and fingers. That will, yes, yes, yes. That affect,
All
because
right.
that has to be according to the child's size. Because generally, when we see in the kitchen, also when children come and they use the children this kitchen utensils.
Utensils.
So those which are very big, so they are difficult to handle for them.
Handle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. That was one doubt that I had. Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else would like to share any observation, anything?
Hi, ma'am. This is Preeti Nair. Yeah, so I agree with you. Like, whenever I tell my son to do something with me, he starts to take more initiative, and he starts to become like a teacher, as you said. So he enjoys it so much. He's an athlete basically, so he's learning a lot of push ups and pull ups and exercises and all. So when I tell him that let's do it together, he'll start telling me, Mama, you do pull up this way, you do push up this way. This is the better way to do. See, if you do it this way, maybe you'll be able to do one more. So he starts to give me suggestions that this is the way to do. And then he doesn't want to end. He wants it to go on and on. So that is very true. And other thing was like conditioning the kids. I have got a lot of fear for snakes. So, because my mother is very fearful of snakes. So, she always used to say, Arey, don't go near snake, don't go there, snakes will come, don't go here, like that kind of a fear. But with my son, I was always like, I mean, snakes are so nice, and although I never used to go, but I always used to tell him that, see, we can go there, you go to see the snakes and all. So now he doesn't have that fear. He's like he likes to watch videos on snakes. He likes to talk about snakes. I run away from all those discussions, so
How
I let he is 10.
is 10? Okay.
Yes. So he has all those discussions with his father. So, that way we have managed to tackle the fears related to animals and all that. So I'm also very afraid, like I'm not very comfortable with dogs and all. But for him, I always am like, so look at that dog, it's so cute and all. And he is very fond of dogs now. So I think what you said, like the same thing we tried and it really helped us. We've been trying since he was a kid, so it's really very helpful.
Yes, yes. We have to see that we are not operating from our fears.
Yes, true.
Thank you. Anyone else? और किसी को कुछ बात करना है?
Ma'am, I just have another doubt. Like when you said about information overload, right? Like for example, like my child is very interested in oceans and insects. So we've learned about the zones of the ocean, just like a story, a conversation that we have, and he still remembers all of the information. How till what detail should be given to him at this point, ma'am? Like we shouldn't overload, right? So what does that exactly mean?
See, you can let him explore. You can provide the details, whatever he is asking for.
Okay.
Okay.
Like
Then,
what animals are in each zone and things, and that's about it, is it?
बिल्कुल. You can go to the details to whatever depth he wants it, he asks for
He
it.
wants. Oh, okay, okay. We
Not
don't go beyond and beyond and okay. It's not
no,
like that.
it's not
Okay.
just because you have some very beautiful encyclopedia, so you want him to cover that completely.
No.
So
Okay.
it doesn't work like it. But then if the child himself is interested in asking and looking for resources, then
Right.
let him go into whatever depth he wants to go.
Oh, I was confused. Okay, because he likes all these insects. So I was wondering, are we doing a little bit too much in detail or what?
No, if he is interested, let him go ahead.
Let him go
Definitely
ahead.
no issue. It's
Even in books, they are so like they have so much of choices, ma'am. He is more interested into animals most of the time, and we go on exploring. Like I read only what he wants me to read, and that is about it. Is that enough?
yes, if he wants to you to provide something, some knowledge, some book, then always go ahead with it.
Go ahead.
Only it should not happen that he has not asked for it, but then you are asking the child to study something.
Okay,
Then
all right,
it is difficult.
all right.
It is
And
yeah, over.
yeah, ma'am, how do you see my older one doesn't really greet people, okay? I mean, people come home, he's okay with them, he's around in the surrounding, but doesn't want to greet them. But the younger one is jumping, he wants to greet everybody, even whoever passes by. Why is that, ma'am? And when do I expect him? Like I tell him greeting is good, it's nice. Why doesn't that happen?
Um, so I hope others are okay with the discussions we are having. Um,
Yes.
yes, so see, I think here we can talk in detail later. May I know your name, please? Eden
I'm
Small.
Shirley here. Shirley,
Shirley,
Shirley.
Shirley. Okay, Shirley. Uh, you are from KS Group.
No, Caterpillar's lab.
Okay, ठीक है. So, Shirley, we can talk in detail later sometime,
Okay.
but this
Yes.
can also be related to the individual differences children have.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because every child is different. And
Okay.
especially when there is a younger one in the child, the elder one starts taking the back seat. That happens.
Oh, okay.
So I need to understand exactly how it is. So we
Okay.
can talk about it.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to
हाँ
share
मुझे
any observations of your children?
हाँ मेरा मतलब ग्रैंडसन 6 years old है
जी.
और वो अपनी 3 साल की बहन को बहुत मारता है वो अभी सडनली बहुत मारना शुरू कर दिया हाउ टू टैकल दैट
अब उसके मारने के बहुत सारे रीजंस हो सकते हैं. बच्चा 6 year old चाइल्ड अगर मार रहा है तो वो बच्चा कुछ he is restless for some reason. He is not in best of his moods, and there is something somewhere that I have to understand.
ओके
ठीक है, क्योंकि सिर्फ वो कभी भी 6 साल का बच्चा ऐसे ही नहीं मारेगा. उसको कहीं पे कुछ लग रहा है, या तो उसको ये लग रहा है कि जो छोटा बच्चा है उसका ज्यादा बीइंग टेकन केयर ऑफ मोर,
अटेंशन मिल रहा है
अटेंशन ज्यादा मिल रहा है, उसका अटेंशन कम है. ठीक है, या फिर हर चीज के लिए व्हेन पेरेंट्स से कि वो छोटी है उसको करने दो, वो छोटी है उसके साथ ऐसा मत करो. Then also it happens because 6 year old will also not understand that much. 6 year is also very young.
यस
So there can be many reasons. Are you in the group, parenting group?
नो नॉट एट ऑल आई एम एक्चुअली द मदर ऑफ अ गर्ल हु इज इन योर ग्रुप इन पेरेंटिंग ग्रुप
Okay.
but I'm very much involved with my grandchildren.
Nee, that's very good. That's really good. So yes, yes, we can talk about very specific issues. We can talk. You can talk to me later. Whoever
Okay.
wants to talk. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else would like to speak anything? Shall we close or? Shall we close it here? Anything else? If there is Okay, so we had a good session and good discussions, interesting discussions. Surely we can talk more later sometime. And Prashantji, would you like to share anything, Prashantji? Okay, so let us wind it up here, and we will have another session maybe next Sunday or sometime. You can suggest the topics that you would like to discuss. We can pick up the topics from, if there are some specific topics you have. Thank you for attending the session, and let's meet sometime again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Ratta.
Thank you. Thank you.